All right, everyone, remember when I said that the 2020 election would fundamentally begin like a day or two after the midterms? Like, it didn't even wait 24 hours. Now you've got Jeff Flake. Yes, Jeff Flakes out himself. Is considering, oh, yeah, well, maybe I could sort of run for the presidency, maybe launch a primary challenge against Donald Trump. I calculate your odds of actually bothering to do so at somewhere between slim and none. And if you were to do so, I calculate your odds of being successful at exactly none, because it would never happen. Trump's approval is nowhere near the danger zone where a primary challenger is likely to supplant him, especially when his rhetorical skills are considerably better. I can just see the ads now. If Jeff Flake were to primary him, your name alone would be used in the ads. Here's Jeff. See Jeff Flake out. And then they would have 5 or 6 clips of him saying cringy off-the-wall shit like, oh, investigate Kavanaugh, yeah. No, I'm not. Jury's still out. I can't vote for him. Hey, blah, by the way, I'll be gone soon, so fuck you all. Jeff Flake would not be a particularly strong contender. Another name he actually invokes, and this is someone some people speculate might do that too, for 2020, is Kasich. Now, Kasich was the third wheel candidate the last time around, which means he would have no chance. He is from the Rust Belt, which is a net positive, but the problem is John Kasich is hated by Trump's core fans. He's not well liked by evangelicals, particularly. That means that the business and centrist voters could flock to him, could prop up a campaign. I don't think he would even win his home state at that point, though. The vast majority of Republicans, when polled, agree that there should be no primary challenge to Trump. They're standing behind him. His approval in party is massive. Trump's approval in party is as high as it was for Ronald Reagan. You're not going to be able to launch a primary challenge. If the neocons and never-Trumpers seriously attempt to form a coup within the Republican Party and say, okay, we're going to have a joint Jeff Kasich ticket, try to take Trump on, you'll get stomped out of existence. You'll probably, every never-Trumper that's up for re-election will get destroyed, because Trump will target them too, and he'd be right to. He'll literally clean house with you. Looking forward, by the way, to the 2020 election, based on the Senate seats that'll be up, the Republicans are going to have a harder time in 2020 when it comes to retaining the Senate. This time around, of course, you've got like rigging going on right now in Florida, and I guarantee that that's actually happening. Less likely in Arizona. There, it might just be statistical anomaly. You've got a 50-50 race. The idea of Arizona going to cinema or something, that doesn't require voter fraud. It just requires retabulation. They're like, oh, I won by 1,000 votes. That doesn't require any shady shit. In Florida, a little bit of a different case. Gap a little bit larger. It happens to involve Broward County. That's going to be the big video of the day, so I'll be talking about that too. Jeff Flake and John Kasich and the neocons, the never-Trumpers, are incapable of actually challenging Trump. They don't have the skills necessary. They simply don't have the economic skills. Trump is going to be riding on a strong economy, some foreign policy gains, and tax relief. You know, that tax relief that Republicans always talk about and never actually deliver. We had a Republican president actually pass comprehensive tax reform and then recodify it in the House to be a permanent tax cut. I think that's a wonderful idea. And with the economy churning ahead, you can look for the deficit to slowly start declining as well. All the economic indicators right now are strong. It was funny how it was the Trump economy, as predicted during that week when stocks fell again. They said, oh, the Trump economy's here now. Now it's back to being the Obama economy because job and wage reports were up and the stock market began to climb a little bit. Now it's back to the Obama economy. I strongly suspect if Trump were to run and be reelected, like it would be 2023 and they'll still be talking about the Obama recovery. They'll still be doing that. And every time there's an off day and like the Dow Jones is down 10 points, magically it's the Trump economy. It's like a running joke on the left. They just can't take responsibility for the fact that the Obama recovery was limited and didn't help small town and Rust Belt America. It was incapable of doing so because of the structure of the economic recovery that was there, thus causing the loss, actually, to the Republicans of the Rust Belt. By the way, some people are saying right now, and this is a reason why like Flake and Kasich are ready to pounce, saying, oh, the Rust Belt has abandoned Trump because of tariffs, because of, one or two other reasons. They look at some of the flipped seats in the Rust Belt and the fact that a lot of Democrats there were elected. Well, a lot of them were held by Democrats anyway. The strong tendency, if you look at the number of actually flipped seats in the U.S. House or even in the Senate, it's fairly low. Really, it just oscillates back and forth demographically in the Senate between which party has more seats that happen to be up, and they tend to be the same fucking ones. 90% of the time, the incumbent wins the race. They're simply re-elected until they stop running. They either die, or they resign, or a massive scandal knocks them out. Unless they've done something truly shitty. Look, Bob Menendez got re-elected. He's being actively investigated for corruption charges. Actively investigated, still wins. Ocasio-Cortez there is about the dumbest person that could possibly be elected. She gets elected too. It's very, very funny. And she'll become a perennial candidate, and then like 30 years later, finally she'll stop running for office or something. That's how these people tend to operate. They get a little bit of power in them, they get totally corrupted, and then they seek more and more, and eventually, thankfully, sometimes they destroy themselves. Well, they work themselves to death if we're lucky, and they fucking drop dead of a heart attack in their own offices. That's always a good thing. But Jeff Flake, yeah, nothing screams I'd be a great president like a name like Jeff Flake. Yeah. The more boring counterpart to Mitt Romney and less honest. It's not going to happen, Jeff. And Kasich, of all people. My goodness, you came in 4th place in a race that included Rubio, who was never qualified, never had a chance, Ted Cruz, who wasn't eligible, and someone who was fated to win, but who was called ineligible and dumb and crazy, which was Donald Trump, and he still came in 4th place. So much for that establishment. Look, Ted ran on an evangelical platform. Rubio ran basically on a center-left platform. He was the vaguely liberalized Republican candidate, sort of the blue Republican in the room. And then Kasich, who's the establishmentarian, the true neocon, comes in 4th place, barely wins his home state. So yeah, don't get me started about these never-Trumpers and their odds in 2020. I don't think that they'll launch a serious primary challenge. By the way, it's the loss of one of the keys to the White House if there is a serious primary contender. Like a serious, I mean them saying, okay, we're primarying Trump, and then they get ass blasted in the first 3 races and drop out, that wouldn't count. But if there was a serious attempt to unseat Trump as the Republican nominee, and they, almost successful or something, they put up a decent fight, that's actually the loss of one of the keys to the White House. You should look that up. There are 13 keys. Trump has already nailed down 6 unless that happens. Basically, any further successes on multiple fronts, or the lack of the Democrats to field a strong enough candidate, gives him the presidency. In essence, the never-Trumpers could stop him, but the thing is, I don't think that 90% of the rest of the party would stop them. I don't think that they would allow them to actually launch a serious challenge. They're not going to fund a primary challenger, especially not a Jeff Flake or a John Kasich. I can't see any other Republicans that would be likely to both want to run and would be able to put up a fight. Like someone like Rand Paul that might be able to actually outmaneuver Trump, or at least put up a fight, is an ally of Trump. So that's not going to happen. There are a number of other people there. It's like, yeah, we're gonna have primary candidate Mitch McConnell. It's going to be a great time, everyone. That's about all. Peace out.